Can you tell me about your journey since graduating from Binghamton?
Um, I After I graduated from Binghamton, I went to college. I went to a formerly all-women's college that unfortunately just closed, called Wells College. And then after that, while I was in college, I had an internship in the admissions office. And then when I graduated, they offered me a job in admissions. So I then started to recruit college students into my school or high school students into my school. And then I left there and I went to Cornell University and I did the same thing. And then I lived in Ithaca for a little while. You know where Ithaca is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I lived in Ithaca because Ithaca is pretty close to where I went to school in Aurora, New York. And then I decided I loved what I did, like helping empower high school students, helping them gain access to education and get excited about college. And so I then decided to move to New York City and do that work, but working with college students who wanted to go get a job and an internship for a job. So now I've worked in finance, recruiting, in campus recruiting. And so I used to be a recruiter. Now I manage a team at JP Morgan, which is like a huge, huge global bank. And I manage a team that recruits students from college to join us at our bank and work there. And there's a really strong spotlight on populations of students that are not very visible in finance. So, like women, students of color, um, and that is like me. So it feels really good to be able to do that work. That's my journey.
When were you involved in fine arts at BHS, and what is your involvement with performing now?
When wasn't I involved? That's the question. When wasn't I involved at BHS? I When I was in high school, it was an orchestra. I played the cello. Um, I was in jazz ensemble. I sang. I was in chorus. I sang there. I was in, oh gosh, what are those choirs called now? Like um, all those different competitive choirs that you could travel for. I was in all of those. I was in all the musicals and all the plays, although I don't think I was very good at acting. But, and I was in dance. I danced with K2. I don't know if she's there anymore. Um, no. Um, so yeah, I danced, sang, played cello, and I never had like a lunch break with my friends. I was always at lunch doing something musical, and now, so when I lived in New York, I used to live in Ithaca and Aurora, and then Manhattan, and I performed with a jazz ensemble in Manhattan, and we traveled. I performed with a band in Ithaca. I still perform with them sometimes, but I moved to Los Angeles, across the country. I moved crazy, but I moved to Los Angeles 3 years ago, and I just found a band that I perform with now. So yeah, I'm still singing.
Looking back on your time at Binghamton High School, how do you think it prepared you for your future?
Looking back at my time at BHS, how did it prepare me for my future? Um, BHS is a really big school, and I I remember starting college, and my graduating class in college was 500 students. Or sorry, my entire school in college was 500 students, like first year students to seniors, 500 total. And I was like, that's my graduating class in high school.
Are
So
big.
yeah, it's really, really big. And I think what I learned from high school was like the importance of finding the people that really care about you, especially in such a like really big school. And so when I went to college, I instantly like was able to find those people who became my people, right? Like my advisor, the person who ended up being like my when I picked my major, she was like she became my advisor and she was just like so supportive. Um, my friend group, I really learned that from BHS, especially when I was just drawn to music all the time. I kind of knew how to pick through the weeds of folks and like find people who really cared about me and that I could care about. Um, I'll also say that like BHS really challenged me in ways that when I did get to college, I was like, oh, I don't have a problem talking with these people because like I've done performing arts or or like feeling empowered to want to start a student club or organization. Like I did that in college, but I think it was because of the foundational um, learning and challenging, like being pushed out of my comfort zone at BHS that I was able to do that.
If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what would you tell her?
Mm. Um, I'd probably say a couple of things. Like, I loved my school. I loved my college that I went to, but I was really afraid to go farther from home. And I would have told her to go farther from home and see how you like it. Um, I would have told her uh, to um, there's something that I say now that's funny. I don't know if I would have told myself then, but if we're not making money and we're not having fun, then what are we doing? Um, I don't know if I really valued time in high school. Like right now, I read resumes of students who have started businesses. I read my niece is in high school. She started a nail business and like does people's nails. And I'm like, wow, like I did a lot of stuff in high school and a lot was involved with the music. And I think that I might have taken some of that for granted. I could have started teaching voice lessons in high school to like little kids, like started my own business. Like we have the same amount of time, amount of hours in a day that Beyonce has. That's kind of crazy. Like Beyonce does so much. So I'm like, okay, if I have the same amount of time in a day that she has, then what could I do? Like the possibilities were endless. And I don't think that I really recognized that in high school. So I think I would tell myself to like do something scary every day and do something that like makes me entrepreneurial.
What advice do you have for current students at BHS?
Every day when you look in the mirror in the morning, uh, like look in the mirror and say that you are the best. You are super awesome. Like that would be my advice because high school can be hard, I think. At least it was hard for me. People used to make fun of me and just say that like, "Oh, you're the singing girl. You're always at, like you don't ever really hang out with anybody but your little choir friends, chorus friends." Um, and I like now I'm like that was actually kind of cool, but I didn't think it was cool then. Um, And so I would probably say, like, look in the mirror every single morning and say, like, I'm the best. And like, I'm going to take over the town one day. Like, I'm just so amazing. Um, and I think another piece of advice that I would say is um, you can always go back home. You can always go back to Binghamton, but the older you get, the harder it is to um, to leave because you start a family or you know, buy a home or something. So, like, I would say go out and explore when you leave high school.
I know you kind of had like mentioned it, but what teacher had like that you like really helped you move like forward and just kept making you push harder in like music and stuff, or any teacher, it doesn't have to be music, but
Yeah, I had a couple of teachers that did that for me. Mrs. Card was my advisor. I don't know if she's still at the high school. And
I've
I
never
had to
heard.
write, yeah, I was in full IB and she invited me to her house for a weekend and like put me in a room with a computer because I had such a hard time writing my thesis and it was due. And so she invited me and I was good friends with her daughter who also was at the high school. And so um she like said, stay here, write your thesis and get it done. And that was really, really pivotal, like meant a lot for me. Also Miss Purdy, she was my math teacher.
I think
Um,
now she's a principal, so that's
wow, I love that. Yeah. She pushed me really, really hard. Um, and and then like the choir teacher at the time, her name was Mrs. Bachman. And I know that she's definitely retired. But she she just kind of was like, just I would walk into her room and be like, oh, like this class is hard. And she'd be like, well, like let's sing something. Just sing something and then you're gonna go off to class. Like you're gonna be okay.